Hey everybody, how's it going? New YouTube channel, first video. It's gonna be really bad, just bear with me through it. I want everyone to know that the audio for this video actually got corrupted, so just ignore that in the background. Also, I am very aware that it said bow only in the thumbnail, but I'm gonna let myself use C4 and explosives, throwables like that, because this challenge would be really hard without those. So I'm just going to kind of fast forward through the first few missions of this game because we don't have a weapon and it has nothing to really do with the story. So nothing really matters until we get the bow, and if you didn't already know, this thing is a piece of trash. Literal trash. But it's okay because later on we get the recurve bow, and that's what we're going to be using for the remainder of the game, and we use it to clear out the next few missions. Now eventually we meet this guy named Longinus. He's like a machine gun preacher. His missions aren't really necessary to this campaign, except for the very first mission, which is the one you're seeing right now, and he insists on giving you a gun that cannot be dropped, so sorry. Now here I'm showing the Far Cry wiki page. The only reason I'm really showing this is so you get a general idea of how large the game actually is. You can see Act 1 is basically a breeze. Act 2 has 3 missions that are fairly difficult, but then in Act 3 every single mission is going to be hard. And before I get any farther into the video, I just want everyone to know that I'm not actually going to be doing every single mission. I'm only going to be doing the campaign missions, such as the immediate and Sabal power struggles. Now normally, I don't really have a preference on who I choose to lead the Golden Path, whether it be Amita or Sabal. I like to go with Amita because she's not a pedophile, like Sabal is, and Amita's low-key kind of hot. Oh, also, Amita usually has missions that allow me to blow up stuff, and I prefer doing those because they're a lot easier to do than missions where you have to protect or preserve something. Blowing up is always a lot more fun than saving something, if you know what I mean. Now obviously I can't show every single mission in the campaign, because 1, that would be like a 3-hour video, and 2, you guys aren't going to watch that. So I'm just going to kind of show the highlights of the more difficult ones, and how I completed them basically. So these 2 idiots on the screen right now are Yogi and Reggie. They're kind of nice guys once you get to know them, but the first time you meet them, they actually drug you and throw you into Sheena Farina. Sheena Farina is kind of like a gladiator pit for Kyrat. And I thought that it would be more difficult than it actually was, because I couldn't use a weapon and there'd be tons of animals running around and stuff. But it was actually really simple. I just had to use lots of takedowns and really utilize these big red explosive barrels in the arena. As long as I healed up and stayed smart about it, this was fairly easy. Now the lady in charge of this whole arena, her name is Noor. Later in the game you actually get the option to kill her or not, and obviously I can't shoot her with my gun, so I just have to let her kind of do her thing, and she ends up falling off the side of the cliff. Now later in the game, Yogi and Reggie will tell you about this place called Shangri-La. It's basically like heaven on earth for Kyrat. Only the first mission is the one that's necessary to do in the campaign to sort of highlight it, so I only do the first one. Yogi and Reggie will also send you on these crazy drug trips. They're not necessary to the campaign in any way, but I always like doing them because they're fun. And finally, we're at the first difficult campaign mission, the Sleeping Giants. The only reason it's so difficult is because you have to defend a certain point from waves of enemies coming at you. Keep in mind that I only have a recurve bow the majority of this game. Near the end of the mission, a helicopter comes up, and the only way I really have to destroy it is to climb on top of the statue, jump over to the arm, and actually wait till him to come around and then throw C4 at him. And with that out of the way, we can get to the second difficult mission of Act 2. We gotta kidnap this guy named Paul. He's kind of a dick. Once you're inside his compound, you just knock him out, and then you have to sneak him out without being caught. And then you load him into your trunk and you drive him to the Golden Path and you deliver him. Eventually you're going to meet this guy named Willis, who works for the CIA. He's kind of a dick, just like Paul. The first mission where you meet him is kind of difficult because at the end of it there's a helicopter, and helicopters are of course my weakness for this challenge. But with a little persistence I was able to take it down using lots of Molotovs, lots of grenades, lots of C4. I hate helicopters, man. And immediately after you make your acquaintance with Willis, you actually have to chase down this freaking airplane and grab some files in it, and then skydive out of there, while throwing your grenade into it, into the wind. And I don't want to say it's not possible, I'm just going to say it's not probable. The next few missions that you do for Willis are basically the same. You go around killing people for him and taking pictures of them and stuff, but eventually he's going to backstab you and leave you in the dust. And this is when we get thrown into prison. Now this is not an ordinary prison, okay? Whenever you first get thrown into it, you actually get injected with this drug that makes you go all Shangri-La. You can see those weird demons from the mystical place. And one will pop up on screen right now. It actually knocks you down the cliff as you're trying to escape, and you go unconscious and wake up in another prison camp. Now obviously you're trying to escape, so the game gives you a few throwing knives right at the beginning of the mission, and as you keep going along, you'll find this watchtower with tons of weapons stockpiled in the bottom of it. Now I actually can't utilize all these weapons because I can't shoot them. But it's okay, because I found a way around this. I just climb to the very top of the watchtower and wait for the guard to zip line down towards the wall. And then I follow him, and I just have to kill him before jumping over the wall to escape. And just like that, in my opinion, the most difficult mission in this challenge has just been completed. And as you walk out into the Tundra, you're going to see this Yeti-like figure. We don't really see much about it. We just know that it's the thing that saves you, obviously. But there's more on that later. When you get back, Amita sends you on this mission to ambush a convoy, steal the truck, and drive it into this big old wall over a bridge. Now this mission in particular is extremely important to the campaign, because it gives you access to the northern part of Kyrat, which is where the end of the game takes place. The very first mission you have to do in northern Kyrat is you go into this guy's basement and just kind of chill out while Pagan Man is up top talking to him and his wife. And nothing's wrong with that. But what is bad is whenever Pagan Man leaves, he actually orders his soldiers to murder them. And just after he leaves, we chase after him in a buzzcopter. We then destroy his vehicle, and then we finish him off on the ground. But then we find out, like 15 seconds later, that it was actually just a body double that we murdered. And directly after that, Pagan Man goes on live television and basically challenges us to kill his right-hand man. Or woman. So that's exactly what we go and do. But whenever we see Yuma, she blows this weird powder into our face, and it starts to make us hallucinate. In the hallucination, we're actually in this weird Shangri-La type area, because apparently Yuma is obsessed with it. You also see all these weird scenes with either Amita or Sabal, depending on who you choose. It's basically showcasing what will happen if you keep choosing them to lead the Golden Path. But anyway, once you defeat the weird Shangri-La guy, you'll actually wake up from the hallucination and realize that it was Yuma that you were killing the entire time. But we didn't use a gun, so we're still good. The next mission we do is another power struggle mission between Amita and Sabal. Now obviously I'm going to choose Amita because she's hot and her missions are always easier. Speaking of easier missions, this one was not one of them. I had to clear out the entire town of enemies before they destroyed a local town called Utkarsh. As hard as it was, it got even harder because immediately after I did that, I had to destroy the cannons. Now this is where the game makes stuff a little more difficult on you on purpose. Instead of you destroying the cannons, they send allies that you have to defend while they destroy the cannons. So eventually I just said screw it and killed them so I could destroy the cannons by myself, which made it so much easier. It took me like 30 seconds to get all 3 cannons in the entire town. And once you get all the cannons destroyed, your next objective is to escape, which is made super simple since the town is on the side of a cliff. You can just wingsuit away. And since I chose Amita to lead the Golden Path, she sends me on a mission to go kill Sabal, which I do not do because that would be shooting a gun, so I let him live. And finally, we are at the very last mission of the game, which is to invade Pagan Man's palace. To be honest, this mission wasn't all that difficult. We just had to capture 3 different points and then blow up a statue of Pagan Man. Now, if you ever played Far Cry 4, you know the better ending is when you don't shoot Pagan Man immediately. Because if you do that, then you don't get to go and spread your mother's ashes and he doesn't give you any backstory in your family history. So once we go and spread our mother's ashes, well, we don't actually spread her, we just kind of set them down right there. But we walk back outside and we see Pagan Man flying away on his helicopter. And if you're like me and you still want to kill Pagan Man, Don't worry about it, because he does a flyby right in front of you where you can run at him and throw C4. And just like that, the game is over. You can beat Far Cry 4 with nothing but a bow and a few explosives. So if you guys stuck around to the end of the video, I want to say first off, thank you. It means the world to me. I've worked very hard on this video. It took me a long time. I plan on uploading more in the future. Hopefully it's less cringy. Like the video, subscribe it, share it, do whatever you want. Peace out.